Swamini Vinamini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashati Deshdarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityanandam Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Gurve Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tatbhaktaya Namo Namah. Hare Krishna. So the most beautiful place of Krishna's pastime is, okay, so somebody have joined for the first time, Maunmita Datta. Okay, so this is Bhagavad Gita Chapter 6. Okay, we're going to take Chapter 6, Dhyana Yoga. So in the most important place in Vrindavan is Govardhan, where Krishna did a lot of his pastimes. In Govardhan, there is something called Radha Kund. Okay, the bathing place where Krishna likes to be there, and it's not different from Radharani. So this is Kirtan by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Radha Kunda Tada Kunja Kutira Radha Kunda Tada Kunja Kutira Govardhana Parvata Yamuna Tira Govardhana Parvata Yamuna Tira Radha Kunda Tada Kunja Kutira Kusuma Sarovar Manasa Ganga Kusuma Sarovar Manasa Ganga Kalinda Nandini Vipula Taranga Kalinda Nandini Vipula Taranga Vamshivada Gokula Dira Samira Vamshivada Gokula Dira Samira Vrindavana Tarula Tika Panira Vrindavana Tarula Tika Panira Kagamriga Kula Malaya Vatas Kagamriga Kula Malaya Vatas Mayura Brahma Murali Vilasa Mayura Brahma Murali Vilasa Venu Shringa Pada Chinna Mekhamala Venu Shringa Pada Chinna Mekhamala Vasanta Shashanga Shanga Karatala Vasanta Shashanga Shanga Karatala Radha Kunda Tada Kunja Kutira Yugala Vilase Anukula Jani Yugala Vilase Anukula Jani Leela Vilase Udipakamani Leela Vilase Udipakamani Ye sab choda to kahi nahi jao Ye sab choda to kahi nahi jao Ye sab choda to parana harao Bhakti Vinoda Kohe Shunakana Bhakti Vinoda Kohe Shunakana Tuva Udipaka Hamara Parana Radha Kunda Tada Kunja Kutira. This is a beautiful song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He says, different places in Vrindavan, the cottage and the groves of the banks of Radhakund, Govardhan Hill, banks of Yamuna, Kusum Sarovar, Manasa Ganga, daughter of Kalinda Yamuna, with many waves, Vamshivada, Gokula, Dhira Samira, the trees and creepers of Vrindavan, all the colorful birds, deers, and cooling breeze from Malaya mountain, the peacocks, bumblebees, pastimes, then the flute itself, the buffalo horn, the footprints of the cows, the dust of Braja, the raw blackish rain cloud, the springtime, the moon, conch shells, kartals, all this has very conductive for the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. I recognize them as a transcendental stimulus for making the Lord's charming pastimes more intense. I refuse to go anywhere if the stimuli to devotional service are not there, for to abandon them is to abandon life itself. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, please hear me, O Kana. Your entourage and paraphernalia stimulate remembrance of you and are the very source of my life. Okay, so this is a beautiful Vaishnava bhajan. You can all try to hear and memorize it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So our topic of discussion is Dhyana Yoga today. So there are different types of yoga Krishna mentions and Dhyana Yoga. But as we know that meditation is not the prescribed method in Kali Yoga, right? So which you can put in the chat. So in which yoga was meditation prescribed? So we have different yogas and different prescribed method for different yogas. Yes, Satya Yoga, right? So in Satya Yoga, meditation was prescribed. So Dhyana Yoga, we'll see about Ashtanga Yoga and why is it difficult. Arjuna says why controlling the mind is very difficult. Radha Govinda. So the overview of chapter 6 goes like this. Okay, so that is first to 9 slokas is advancing in Ashtanga Yoga. How a yoga, there are different process, right? Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahara, all that. And then stages of Ashtanga Yoga also comes from 10 to 32. So advancing in Ashtanga Yoga, how to advance on that, and what are the different stages, the 8 stages of Ashtanga Yoga. The necessity of controlling the mind. Mind is very crazy, and Arjuna says that it's a friend as well as enemy. We'll see when and how to control it. And destination of an unsuccessful yogi. A yogi keeps meditating and do a lot of tapasya, and then what happened to him if it is he is unsuccessful. And at the last verse, Krishna says Bhakti Yoga is the topmost yogi. Yogi nama sarvesha madhyade nandaratmana shraddhavan vajre yomam sameyukta tamomada. So he says that topmost yogi is the Bhakti yogi. We'll see why and all that in this chapter. Okay, so we have seen this different types of yoga. Actually, yoga means what? Put in the chat what did the word mean, yoga? I think some of you are attending the level 1 class also. Say level 1. Yesterday it was chapter 6. Today we'll just go, yes. So getting closer to God, or you're connecting back to God, right? And we learned different types of yoga. So before practicing Ashtanga Yoga, one must practice Nishkama Karma Yoga. What is Nishkama Karma Yoga? Okay, I can unmute. Nishkama Karma Yoga.
Not getting attached to the results of the activity.
Yeah, not getting attached to the fruits or results of the activities. That is Nishkama Karma Yoga, right? And then Lord glorifies Nishkama Karma Yoga in the first 2 verses. Let's see. Shri Bhagavan Vaja Anashita Karma Phalam Karyam Karma Karotiya Sanyasi Cha Yogi Cha Nani Ratnir Na Chakriya. The Supreme Personality of God said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obliged is in the renounced order of life, and he is the true mystic and not he who lights no fire and performs no duty. So Lord says that we have to be unattached from the fruits of his work. Patma Patram Ivambasha. Right? That means what? You've seen the lotus leaf. I mean, it doesn't get attached to the water, right? So not getting attached to the fruits. Okay, that is one way of Nishkama Karma Yoga. Yam sannyasami prahur yogam tam viti pandava nahi asanyashta sankalpo yogi bhavati kasyana. What is called renunciation you should know to be same as yoga, or linking oneself with the Supreme. O son of Pandu, for one can never become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. So your yogi should control all his senses, especially the tongue and also belly, genitals and all that. So both will lead to renunciation of sense gratification. That is Bhakti Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga. But Bhakti Yoga, we become attached to Krishna and work for Krishna, controlling the mind and senses. But Ashtanga Yoga, you have to give up the attachment to the fruits of work, control the sense, which is very difficult. You control, take away all the distractions and everything. But in Bhakti Yoga, all the senses are involved. You want dance, there is dancing in the kirtan. You want best music, you have kirtan. You want nice food to eat, there is prasad. And you want friendship, there is association of devotees. You like to read, there is shastras. And so many things in Bhakti Yoga, which we are not rejecting anything. In Ashtanga Yoga, they have lot of things, yama, niyama, you should not do that, should not do this. But in Bhakti Yoga, tatrarpita niyamita smaranena kala, there's no rules and regulations in Bhakti Yoga. Only thing is, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam. Our senses should be involved in serving the master of sense. Arurukshor munir yogam karma karana uchyate yogarudasya tasyaiva samakkaranamuchyate. For one who's a neophyte in the Eightfold Yoga system, work is said to be the means, and for one who's already elevated in yoga, cessation of all material activities is said to be the means. Okay. Yes, Mataji. I'll take questions towards the end. You have anything to say, Amrita Mataji?
I think she wanted to recite, Mataji.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah. Okay. So next sloka, okay. The process for linking oneself with Supreme is called yoga. Oh, I got confused with Amrita. Okay, this is that girl. Okay. So here it is said that there is the Eightfold System, and then we'll see how it will help us to elevate ourselves. Okay, ladder of spiritual development. So this is a yoga ladder. We can see karma kanda. Karma kanda means you work, get attached to the fruits. Okay, so fruity workers and perform the work to go to heavenly planets or heaven. That is karma kanda. Then karma yoga, nishkama karma, that is renouncing the fruits of results. Next is jnana yoga, that is knowledge about the Brahman. Then ashtanga yoga. Okay, will come last, and the topmost is bhakti yoga. Why bhakti yoga is the top yoga? Okay, you can unmute. Why do you think bhakti yoga is the topmost? Why Krishna gives bhakti yoga to the top? No idea.
It is direct connection to the Lord.
Yes, very good. It's a direct connection. And then in one life, you can go to perfection, reach perfection, right? In one lifetime.
Yes.
So even children can participate. It is said, Susugam kartuma vyayam. Rajavidya rajaguhyam pavitram midam uttamam pratyakshavangamam dharmyam susukam kartuma vyayam. Very, very easy to perform. 9th chapter, first sloka says, very easy to perform. Yeah, easy way to get to God. And it can be performed in one lifetime. You can reach perfection. Like in Ashtanga Yoga, you reaching Samadhi is a great process, and you won't reach in one life. Jnana Yoga, how many books? How can you understand Krishna after the whole knowledge? Prabhupada says it's not possible. It's impossible to understand Krishna fully in full. If someone says, I have understood everything about Krishna, he's lying. Nobody can understand Krishna fully. Even pure devotee says, Krishna, I didn't understand you. So because he's unlimited. But by his mercy, he will reveal to you. Swayameva Swaratyada. So Prabhupada says, forget understanding Krishna, try to love him, try to fall in love with Krishna. And that's very important. You have to have a loving relationship with the Lord. That is love of Godhead, a love of Krishna. That's very important. Not knowing so much about him, and in one lifetime, it's not possible. Then Nishkama Karma Yoga, renouncing the works, fruits of the results, that will also take a lot of lifetime. And Karma Kanda is less out of everything, because again, repeated birth, death cycle, because we are attached to the fruits. Yes, Amrita, you can chant.
Yadi hinendriya yateshu na karmasvanusajjate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yoga ruddhastatochyate.
Okay. A person is said to be elevated in yoga when having renounced all material desires. He neither acts for sense gratification nor engages in fruitive activities. Okay. So somebody is elevated in yoga, they will be renouncing all material desires, and they won't have any sense gratification, because they will involve everything in Krishna's service. Okay. So we should not degrade ourselves. We should use our mind and upgrade ourselves. Yes, Mataji.
Uddharedatmanatmanam atmaiva hyatmano bandhur atmaiva ripuratmanah.
Yes. So one must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well, right? So when does our mind become our friend? When does it become an enemy? Put in the chat. Here it is said, the mind is a friend and his enemy. Really? How can someone be your friend as well as enemy? But then mind is like that. So when does your mind become our friend? When does our mind become our enemy? Yeah, it becomes our friend when it is controlled. Yes. And what about become enemy? Yeah, when we can't control it, right? So when we can't control it, becomes our enemy. And when we control, it becomes our best friend. And how do we do that? By devotional service. So we should try to deliver ourselves with this mind. So is mind a friend or enemy? It's a big question mark. But then definitely when Hiranyakashipu was searching outside for his enemy, where is Vishnu? Because by Varahadev, he killed his brother Hiranyaksha. So Hiranyakashipu was so angry. What did Prahlad say? Father, your enemy is not outside, he is within you. Your own mind is your enemy. So definitely that's our enemy, especially someone who want to progress in devotional life. I don't know how many of you experienced. I want to get up at 3 o'clock. So I keep the alarm and everything so that I can chant. I finish my 16 rounds. I want to finish in Brahma Muhurta. So I keep my mind ready. And then I keep the alarm. So sometimes I'm getting up, but the mind says, half an hour, just 10 minutes, 10 minutes. And let me wait for the Mangalarti. Let Mangalarti start and then I'll chant. And keep snoozing, snoozing, snoozing. And one day I slept off just like that. Just like that. But the next day I thought, I'm not going to listen to my mind. No, I have to get up. So 3 o'clock, the alarm started ringing, 3:30, and I forced myself to get up, even though I was a little tired. But then my mind was going on chattering. No, sleep. It's okay. It's cold outside. It's raining, and you have a nice blanket. It's so cozy, and you just sleep off. And then just one day, nothing's going to happen. Tomorrow I can chant. Tomorrow I can chant. And my mind was going on, but I didn't listen to it. I forced myself to just get up because we have a higher intelligence. Because I know that chanting in Brahma Muhurta is the best thing to do. And if I don't chant at that time, the whole day my chanting will go on, and I can't read Shastra, I can't do any other work because I'll be keeping on chanting the whole day, right? But if I do it in Brahma Muhurta, I could concentrate more. But I'm doing in the evening or some other time, I have a lot of other thoughts that I'm not able to concentrate. I'm not doing attentive chanting. So I forced my mind to get up, and then I could finish my chanting early. Then I understood I need to trick my mind. Now you have to fool your mind. You fool your mind, then it's easy to control. Easy to control. So this is from my experience. So then it's not a problem. Yeah. So yes, that's the most dangerous statement. No, you'll say tomorrow we'll do. One day it's not a problem, and one day it's okay. Just leave it. Just leave it. But that's the mind is tricking you. The mind doesn't want you to become happy and don't want you to be free from all these illusions and everything, because mind is being controlled. But the Maya Devi is there, and she's controlling everything. And they are very happy when you just become lazy into Tamaguda. That's her job that she's doing. She's also servant of Krishna, Mama Maya Duratiya. But that's just that's there always. But if you take shelter of devotees, association of devotees, and you read Shastras, then behind your intelligence, it's there that I have to get up, I have to do my rounds and everything, and then you can just overcome your mind. Make it your friend. So one who has conquered the mind is the best friend. One who have failed to do so, the mind becomes the greatest enemy. Yeah, Aishi, you want to chant? Sloka?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Bhagavad Gita 6.6. Bandhur atmanastasya yena atmeva atmana jita antamanastu satrutve vartet tatmeva satruvat. Thank you, Mataji.
So what happens? Bandhur atmatmanastasya. So the bandhu, the mind becomes your friend and relative if you control. Then ajita. If you don't control, then shatruvat, right? Vartatemaiva shatruvat. So it becomes your enemy. So for one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already attained. He is attained tranquility. And for such man, happiness, distress, heat, cold, honor, dishonor are all the same. So we have to control the mind. So I remember there was a lecture going on, and I was very new to Krishna consciousness. So just started chanting and all that. So but that devotee came, he was senior, and then I asked no questions in the whole audience. But I was like always curious. Initial days of my Krishna consciousness, like I keep on asking questions to whoever I meet, my seniors or anyone, and they do like, oh, she's coming with questions. And sometimes they used to get bored, or sometimes they run off seeing me because I ask questions, and they'll be like, because it's so much doubts. But then I understood, instead of just going on asking others, I need to focus on Prabhupada. Like I listen to his lectures and read his books. Prabhupada will answer your questions. Everything will be answered. Okay, but it takes a little time, but then he will answer. So my question was how to control the mind, the stupid mind. That was the first question in Krishna consciousness. And that Prabhu, when I came and asked me, how many rounds are you chanting? So you need to increase your chanting, and then you see. But later on, after he came back, then when he asked how many rounds you're chanting, I was increasing my chanting. And then he asked me, did you get the answer? So the answer was, yes, your mind can be controlled by devotional service, really, because that's the only way. Other techniques, there's so many other techniques, but then it is about controlling the senses. So that's very important. When you involve your senses of tongue into chanting the holy name, eating Krishna Prasad, ears in hearing Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, eyes in seeing the beautiful form of the Lord, hands in touching the Lord. When you do all these, take Ekadashi, chant, and then the mind will be controlled. So person is said to be established in self-realization and is called a yogi when he is fully satisfied by virtue of knowledge and realization. Such a person situated in transcendence is self-control, and he sees everything, whether pebbles, stones, gold, everything as same. Okay, so this is a statement for pure devotees. Okay, someone who sees pebbles, stones, gold, all the same. We may not be able to see like that, but then for a devotee like Sanatana Goswami, he threw the touchstone in the waste basket once. So, and this is Pundarik Vidyanidhi. He was also like very much great devotee, but outside he was looking like a materialistic person, but he was a great devotee. And a person considered still further advanced when he regard honest, well-wishers, affectionate benefactors, and neutral and mediators, and the envious friends and enemies, and pious, all with equal mind. When you see your enemy and your friend as equal, but then a great devotee can do it. Okay, so Ambarish Maharaj, even though Durvasa Muni cursed him and everything, Ambarish Maharaj forgave him. So these are the 6 enemies of our mind, right? You have Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Malsarya, lust, anger, greed, envy, illusion, and madness. So these are there in us, all of us, in different grades. Like some of you will be more angry, some of you may be more envious, jealous, someone will be more greedy. And based on our Rajogun, Tamaguna, we'll have all these different enemies in our mind. So we need to overcome that. That's why Anartha Nivritti. Ado Shraddha, Sadhusanga, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti. That's a stage in Bhakti where the 6 anarthas gets washed away. One established in self-realization by virtue of knowledge and self-realization sees pebbles, gold, everything as same. Okay, and with more advancement, so what happens? He sees honest well-wishers, friends, enemies, everyone as equal. So even though you fight, but then you become friends, and then you see everyone equal. So Krishna describes the practice of Ashtanga Yoga later on, and he sees these are the different stages. Can you see? Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. Okay, so we have already finished this in level 1. Yeah, so can someone say what is Yama? Niyama, asana, just in one word. You can unmute. Yama means what? There's some rules, right?
Things that we shouldn't be doing, Mother.
What we have to do, what we should not do, and sitting in a secluded place, all that is Yama. Niyama, the rules, okay? Rules are there. Asana, what about asana? You say Vyasasan. So asana means what? There's a sitting posture.
Yogic postures.
Postures. Yes. So in what does they sit, the yogis? They sit on what?
Deer skin.
Padmasan.
Skin, right? And why do they use that type of skin? Anyone knows? Why that particular skin?
It's deer skin, and then some 2-3 layers are there, and one of those layers is deer skin.
Yeah, so it's often comfortable yet to keep the reptiles away. Okay, so there'll be like when you meditate, you want to opening your eyes and seeing and all that, but then some reptiles, some snakes can come and harm you. So when you use these skin of tigers and everything, and then the reptiles will just go away. They won't come here. Okay, next pranayam, right? You do the breathing techniques to control the breath. Then pratyahara, you have to control your eating and all that. Dharana, there is again concentration. Dhyana, that is meditation, and then samadhi. These are the 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga. Okay, so which is very difficult to do. There are someone who do meditation, that's good, but then not everyone will be able to do it. Ashta means 8, Anga means limb, Yoga is connection. So how do you connect to the Lord? By these 8 processes: Yama, external disciplines; niyama, asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Okay, so what happens in one lifetime? You can't reach samadhi. Okay, so someone who's reaching samadhi would have been doing yogic practice for a long janmas, but in bhakti yoga it's easy. So these are the 8 limbs starting with yama, niyama. We'll see one by one. So actually yama comes that you have to go to a secluded place, live alone. Let me see why it's not working in Kali Yuga for us. We can't go to a secluded place. How many of you in this class can just run off, leaving everything, our job and family, and go to some secluded place? No, we can't do that. So in Yama only we fail. Then Niyama, there is, you have to control the eating, sleeping, working, recreation. Not too much eating, less eating, no, and too much sleeping, less sleeping. So the niyamas are there. Then asana, you have to sit on the pusa grass or something, or deer skin is used, and then a sacred place. And then should be erect, the neck and all erect, and you should concentrate on the tip of the nose, which is again difficult. And pranayam, yet practice the stopping of the movement of breath. You have to slow down your breathing. Not everyone will be able to do that. Then pratyahara, cessation of material existence. Dharana, okay, that is devoid of material desires. Prabhupada, I was listening to him, and Prabhupada says that all of you have desires, all of us have desires. No, only a dead man won't have any desire. But the desire should be purified. That's the thing. Or we should redirect our desires to Krishna. And dhyana, like someone who says steady in meditation. We can't even control our mind and listen to the class for half an hour. What concentration will we have? Samadhi. Samadhi means they control the breathing, the air, and the soul. And then you can see in this picture, the soul goes out from the top of the head like this. But then what happens to them? Okay, someone attains Samadhi. What will happen to them? Someone who's attaining Samadhi. Anyone knows?
They go to Golok Dham, Vrindavan, Krishna's place.
By Ashtanga Yoga? No. Because they are not meditating on the form of the Lord. They are not chanting the holy name, Prabhu. So how will they go?
They will take rebirth and fall.
They will take rebirth.
Continue the path of that devotion.
Yeah, that is for unsuccessful yogi. Okay, for unsuccessful yogi, they'll take birth again and continue. But here the Prabhu says, yes, they merge with the light. Deval Prabhu, yes. So merging with the light or merging with the Brahman. What type of mukti is that? Yeah, some goes to heavenly planets. But what is it called by merging to the... There are 5 types of mukti or liberation. Merging into the Brahman or light is called what mukti? Anyone knows? It's Sayuja Mukti. Okay, Sayuja Mukti means they're merging into the Brahman. So, Mukti or liberation, just understand this point. Mukti or liberation means coming out of birth, death, old age, disease. No more Punarjanma. Now, in Mukti, there are 5 stages. Something called as the temporary Mukti is called Sayuja Mukti, because the yogi meditated on the light, the effulgence of the Lord, the impersonal form. Or even if it's a Paramatma form, he didn't go to the Bhagavan concept. Okay, Brahmedi Paramatmedi Bhagavanedi Shaptate. So even if he attains Samadhi, his soul will go and merge into the Brahman effulgence of the Lord. That's called Sayuja Mukti, which even the demons get. And what happens? Aru Hekruchena Param Padam Tat Padanti Ada. They think they think they have got liberated, but they're not liberated. Again, they fall down. As Prabhu says, they take rebirth again in this material world. Okay, but in a better family. So unsuccessful yogi. So Samadhi, to reach Goloka Vrindavan, you have to chant the holy name of the Lord. You need to meditate on the beautiful form of the Lord. The form, the 2-handed Shyam Sundar form, not even 4-handed form. If you meditate on the 4-handed form, you reach Vaikunta. But it is the 2-handed form, you reach Goloka Vrindavan. Yat Katvan and Nivartande. So what happens here is Krishna says that only an unsuccessful yogi takes rebirth again and again. Okay, and here it is said about eating and sleeping. Here's Amrita.
Natyasanastu yogisti nachaikantam anasyantah nachaiti swapna silasya jagrato naiva charjuna.
Yes. So it is said there is no possibility of one becoming a yogi, or Arjuna, if one eats too much, eats too little, sleep too much, and does not sleep enough. So if you eat too much, what will happen? You have nice heavy meal, then you won't be able to get up early for chanting. You sleep off. And then if you eat too little, you'll have gastritis, acidity, and all that. If you sleep too much, then you are in tamogana. You become so lazy. Now some days you oversleep and you're like too lazy to get up in the early morning. If you don't have enough sleep, 6 hours sleep, you slept late after 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, then you won't be able to get up early morning. You'll be sleep deprived and you'll be dozing in your japa. So to become a yogi, even if it's a bhakti yogi or jnana yogi, whatever it is, to become successful in spiritual life, these two has to be controlled, right? Atyahara prayasasya, prajalpaniyamagraha, and also jihva vegam, vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jihva vegam, uttarapastu vegam. So first is we need to regulate our life. Like those who are sleeping late can try to sleep early and try to get up early and do the chanting and sleep and eating also. You should, it is said once you serve first time and you finish your meal, okay, and you want to serve second time, you want to take something, you think, do I really want that meal or do I really want it? Because if you have full stomach, there's no space for the air. It said that it should be half filled, 1/4 air and 1/4 water. Then the digestion happens. But if second serving, you should always be thinking twice. Do I really need it? So whatever you want, Prabhupada says, take it in the first serve. And then if you're really hungry, you can have. But then too much of eating will definitely make us lazy. That's the thing. Okay. So that's why we should have a dinner a little early so that we can, if you prioritize your spiritual life, then the whole life gets modified. So all other yoga is the progression towards bhakti yoga. So this is the yoga ladder, which we have already spoken. Yes, karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, and bhakti yoga is the topmost. Okay, so this is how a yogi meditate on the four-handed form of the Lord. One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith, not be deviated from the path. And one should abandon without exception all material desires born of mental speculation, thus control the senses on all sides by the mind. So we should practice with determination, not like, oh, I'm chanting Hare Krishna, or I'm practicing, and so immediately next day I should become a pure devotee. No, it will take time. Ulsaha nishya dhairya. So there a lot of patience is required, and then our material desires has to be controlled with the mind. And gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence, sustained by full conviction. Your mind will play, but you have your intelligence higher than it. So you remember the chariot, the 5 horses are the senses, the reins are the mind, and who's the driver? Intelligence. So even if the mind, the rope is not strong, the intelligence, the driver can control it. Then is the soul. So when your intelligence is more good, the spiritual intelligence, then your mind can be controlled. Thus, the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. For whenever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under control. So when you're chanting, when the mind goes somewhere, try to bring it back. Bring it back. Each time it goes, try to bring it back. That's very important. Okay, and the yogi whose mind is fixed on the Lord really attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the modes of passion, and he realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, thus he is freed from the reactions of past deeds. So what should we do? When we keep chanting or doing any devotional service, that happiness you get, ananda buddhivardhana, right? That's what keeps you moving. Thus, the self-controlled yogi constantly engage in yoga practice, become free from all material contamination, achieves the highest stage of perfection, perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord. So why people are keeping on chanting? See, Prabhupada's disciples are there. They are chanting for 50 years, 50 years, the same mantra. Why? Because they're not bored, because they're getting that ruji, that happiness, right? So that's why. So Hare Krishna Maha Mantra or doing devotional service to Krishna is so fresh like Krishna. Nava yavvanamcha. How much of a time you hear the pastimes of Lord is always fresh. So that happiness comes in you. That's why you stay in Krishna consciousness. A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the selfless person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. So a pure devotee sees the Lord everywhere. When he sees the sun and the moon, he knows, Krishna says, he is the light of the sun and moon, right? he is the taste of water. Rasoham apsukaundeya prabhasmi shashi suryayo. So he is the light of sun and moon, and he is the taste of water. We also drink water. How many times we remember Krishna? No, right? So a pure devotee always sees the Lord. For one who have seen me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am not lost, nor is he ever lost to me. Right? So everything is in the Lord, but still Lord is aloof. And one who sees him like that is a great yogi. You can see this pastime. Who, anyone knows this pastime? What is that? Just put it in the chat. What is happening here? Krishna is there, then all the friends are there, and the lords are there and behind. That's the Brahma Vimohana Leela, right? So Brahma kidnapped the friends and cows of Krishna, and then when he came back, he saw the same boys sitting and eating. So, and Krishna showed, see, all of them are me. So the expansion. Such a yogi who engages in worship service of the super soul, knowing that I and the super soul are one, remains always in me in all circumstances. So super soul is the Paramatma, the four-handed feature in our heart, and Krishna is the Bhagavan. Both are same, right? Both are same. Krishna can expand how much ever he wants. Once Narad Muni went to Dwaraka. So in Dwaraka, Krishna have 16,108 palaces. So with 16,108 queens. And in one palace, he saw Krishna with Satyabhama. In the next palace, Krishna was with Rukmini. In the next palace, he was with Jambavati. And he was doing different things. So Narada saw 16,108 Krishnas. Is that possible? And he went to Goloka, he was there. And he went to Vaikuntha, he is there. He's there in the atom, Andandarastha, Paramanu, Chayandarastha. He's there in everyone's heart as a Paramatma. How is that possible? That's the inconceivable Achintya Shakti of the Lord. So that's super soul, and that's the localized form of the Lord, and Bhagavan. Both are the same. But the Bhagavan consideration is the highest. Okay. He is the perfect yogi who, by comparison of his own self, sees the true equality of all being in both their happiness and distress, O Arjuna. So only a true devotee, a pure devotee can see everyone equal. Now, Arjuna is a great Kshatriya, you know, right? He was so focused. He was the best student of Dronacharya. And then just by looking at the water, he could shoot the eye of the fish which was rotating. If he could do that, that means he was so focused. But Arjuna is also not ready to take up Ashtanga Yoga. Why? He says it's very difficult. Yes, Amrita?
Arjuna Uvacha Yoyam Yogastvaya Prokta Samyena Madhusudana Etasyaham na pashyami Chanchalatvat Stitam Sthiram.
So what is Arjuna saying? Oh Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and steady. Arjuna is saying this. He could shoot that bird, he could see the eye of the bird and he could shoot the bird, or he could shoot the eye of the fish. So he's such a focused Kshatriya, and he is saying the mind is restless. And what about us? That was Dwapara. And Kali Yuga, what happens? Prayanalpayu sabhya kalau asmin yuke jana manda sumanda madhyo manda bhagyahi ubadrida. As the ages come down, and then it's Kali Yuga now. Our lifespan is short, our intelligence is less, we can't concentrate, our mind is restless. Mind is very restless, right? So Arjuna is saying, Krishna, it's very restless. How to do this Ashtanga Yoga? It's not practical for me. It's impossible for him. So that's why Krishna says about this sloka, very important sloka. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramadi balavatvitam tasyaham nigraham manye vayo iva sudushkaram. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna, or Krishna, the mind is chanchala. That means very shaken. Now Lakshmi Devi is called chanchala because she sits in a lotus flower, and you know it's in the river or pond, and the water moves and the lotus also moves, and she doesn't stay with one person for a long time. Okay, rich person can become poor at any time. A poor person can become rich at any time because she is very chanchala. She's shaky. Similarly, the mind is also chanchala, and it's very strong and obstinate, and it can't control. Tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkara. Controlling the air or the wind is very difficult. More difficult is controlling the mind. So that sloka you should memorize. Chanjalam Himana Krishna. You need to memorize that sloka. For the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, very strong. Or Krishna, and to subdue it, I think it's more difficult than controlling the wind. So Arjuna is saying this. Okay, you can see the wind is blowing. Can you control them? No, it's very, very difficult, right? To control the wind. More difficult is controlling the mind. So just imagine the speed of the mind. Prabhupada was saying, you all want to go to America, okay? Now you need to have the visa and all that, passport, and then you need to have the ticket, and then you go. It takes a long time, and in the flight again it takes a long time. But your mind can go just in a fraction of a second. Just go, any place there, or you just imagine you're going to America and you're there in a few seconds. You're there, fraction of seconds. So that's the speed of the mind. He says the speed of the mind is so big, so fast. So the mind is so difficult to control, and empty mind is devil's workshop. But in a Krishna conscious person, you ask anyone, you ask the admins, you ask teachers, or you ask anyone who is practicing Krishna consciousness, they don't have time. they are so busy in life that they really don't get time to do things. Why? Because they keep the mind so engaged, and that's what the mind wants. It wants some service, something to keep on doing. Okay, so once what happened, there was a devil, okay, not devil, a kind of a genie. There was, this Aladdin's genie thing is there, and you rub it and the genie comes. So a boy got that, and he was rubbing and the genie came out. So the genie was asking, you should keep on giving me some job, otherwise I'm going to kill you, I'm going to eat you up. So the boy initially was happy that he said, I want chocolates, I want that, I want this. He got everything, and the genie used to do it in very, very fast. And later on, it became a headache for the boy that he has to keep giving him some job, otherwise the genie will start torturing this boy. So the boy thought what to do, and genie was little foolish, not so intelligent as the boy. So the boy said, there is a tree, you climb the tree up and you come down the tree. You keep going up, come down, keep going up and come down, keep doing this until I say the next job. So the genie was happy. He went near the tree, he climbed up the tree, came down, climbed up the tree, came down. Some 100 times he did, and the boy didn't call him. The boy was happy, studying and doing all his work, and the genie was thinking that when will he call for the next job? But he has a job to do. So similarly, if the genie is jobless, then he'll disturb. Similarly, if the mind is jobless, it will start disturbing you. But you keep giving it some work, like you read Shastras, you chant for some time, you take Krishna Prasad, you engage in deity worship, you associate with devotees, come to the class, and you do other work. You have other work, home, household works, or job. So 24 hours, or sometimes you're sleeping, sometimes the whole time your mind is engaged, then it's easy to control. Give it some higher taste. Param drishtva nivartande. Yes, Amrita.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha Asamshayam Mahabaho Manodurnigraham Chalam Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagyena cha Grihyate.
So what is the Lord saying? Yes, it's difficult to control. The Lord also knows. Lord Krishna said, "O mighty arm, son of Kunti, it's undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind." Krishna knows that. But it is possible by suitable practice. Abhyasa means practice, okay? And by detachment, vairagya. So by abhyasa and vairagya, it's easy to control. He's saying by practice. If you practice to control your mind, what are we doing? That mantra meditation. And then detachment comes. Nirbandhe Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagya Michite. How does detachment comes? By knowledge, by associating with Krishna, you get detached. So first, you should do abhyasa, practice. So we are all practicing devotional service. We are chanting. Nobody is perfect. We are chanting. We are sadhaka bhaktas. We are chanting. We are reading shastras. We are practicing abhyasa. Then the mind can be controlled. Okay, so abhyasa and vairagya, these two things has to be done. The senses can be controlled by right practice and detachment. So it should be the right practice. So Krishna says, Krishna's opinion, for one whose mind is unbridled, self-realization is difficult. But he whose mind is controlled and who strives by appropriate means is assured of success. So sometimes you get disturbed by your mind. Sometimes you don't have a nice mood to chant. These are all the mind playing. But then we should control it with your intelligence, and try to practice yoga while engaging the mind in material enjoyment is like trying to ignite a fire while pouring water on it. Similarly, yoga practice without mental control is waste of time. So the fire is glowing and then you put water, what is the use? Everything goes off. So if you don't control the mind, then you're doing yoga, you're practicing devotional service, it's waste of time. Shrama hevehi kevalam, just waste of time. So if you can, the controlling of the mind will keep happening. As you chant, it will keep happening, because the Maha Mantra is so powerful that it will control. Manatrayate iti mantraha. That which delivers the mind is mantra. So the Hare Krishna mantra is the Maha Mantra. Okay, the best among the mantras. If you chant that, you will get. So why a Maha Mantra? This is called a Maha Mantra. Anyone knows? It can be just called as a mantra. Why Hare Krishna Maha? It's called Maha Mantra.
Because Mataji, it leads to the liberation.
Yes, very good. It leads to liberation. Yes. Anything else? Any other?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu means Lord Krishna himself given this mantra.
Yes. Yeah, so Lord Krishna himself chanted this mantra. So that means it is a Maha Mantra. Definitely it's the Maha Mantra, greatest of all mantra. And as Prabhu said, it will give you liberation. It's the only mantra which gives you liberation. And Mahaprabhu chanted this. And Kali Santarna Upanishad also says that. So yes, all the other mantras are included in this. Okay, so it is said that we should chant the Maha Mantra, and it is said in Kali Santarna Upanishad, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Iti Shodashakam Namam Kali Kalmashanashana. So in Kali Yuga, especially, this is the mantra, Hare Ramaiva Kevalam Kalo Nasteva Nasteva Gadir Anyata. So it is said that this mantra is the only one that works in Kali Yuga. That's why it is a Maha Mantra. And what happens to the unsuccessful yogi transcendentalist? So one Prabhu mentioned, he'll take rebirth again and he'll continue from where he stopped. Although he began the process of self-realization with faith, he later descends due to worldly mindedness and thus does not attain perfection. So what happens to him? He takes rebirth. Almighty armed Krishna, does not such a man who's bewildered from the path of transcendence fall away from both spiritual and material success and perish like a river and cloud with no position in any sphere? So, sometimes the clouds are just carried away by wind and it's not to be seen. In a few seconds, the cloud was there, but just goes somewhere. So what Arjuna is asking, Krishna, what will happen to those yogis? This is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. So Krishna, please help and say what happens to those yogis. So what does Krishna say, Amrita?
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Partha Naivehanama Naivehanamudra Vinasya Tasya Vidyate Nahi Kalyana Kritaschid Dirgatim Tata Gacchati.
Yeah, so the Lord is saying, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, son of Pritha, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activity does not meet with destruction, either in this world or the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. Okay, so nothing happens to that person. See, Ajamila's pastime, we know, he just called out Narayan, and then the Yamadudas had to go away and Vishnududas helped him. Jamala didn't get moksha immediately. No, people think he got moksha immediately. No, he got a second chance. He was given some more lifetime, and then he went to Haridwar and chanted the holy name. Right? So it was not lost. He called Narayan once, and it was not lost. There is no destruction. Right? So an unsuccessful yogi will take birth into a good family. He'll revive his divine consciousness in early age. That is, young children. You can see children and youth. Young people coming to Krishna consciousness, definitely they have done some devotional service in their previous life. Otherwise, they won't be catching up devotional service so easily. And they've taken birth in a good family, rich family, born to devotees. Naturally, they will be attracted to devotion, and we'll see different examples. Okay, so who is this? Anyone knows? Little difficult, but then who was he before? And he was an unsuccessful yogi. This person who's carrying some Raja. That's his third life. I'll give a clue. That's his third life. Jadabharat. Very good. Who was Jadabharat in his previous life? Previous life. The first life was? Who was
Bharat
he?
Maharaj.
Very good.
Maharaj.
Bharat Maharaj. Second life was?
Deer.
And then he became Jadabharat, right? And who's the king he's carrying?
Maharaj Rahuguna.
Rahuguna. Dinesh Prabhu, Hari Bol. Okay. So Rahuguna Maharaj. Okay, so what happened to Bharat Maharaj? We know that he saw the deer. We already saw that story, right? Then that baby deer, and he was always thinking about the deer. And as Krishna said in the 8th chapter, Antakalesha Mamiva. You know this sloka Amrita? Smaran Muktva Kalevaram Yaprayadi Samadbhavam Yadi Nashatri Samshayaha. And also Krishna says, Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhavam Tejat Ante Kalevaram Tam Tame Vaida Kaundeya Sada Tat Bhava Bhavitaha. Whatever state of mind you think at the end, you attain that. So again, Bharat Maharaj left everything. But what was the defect Bharat Maharaj did? He didn't have any association. That's the problem. He fell down. So if you think that you can also do bhakti alone, no need any association, we fall down. So it's just an example. Krishna shows by example to teach us lessons. Otherwise, Bharat Maharaj is a great devotee. And Krishna had some other plans. In third Janma, he became Jada Bharat. This is some other plan for Krishna. So Bharat Maharaj became a deer. And in the deer form, he could remember his past life. And later, Krishna gave a form of Jada Bharat. And this Jada Bharat was actually carrying King Rahuguna. Okay, you can see in a palanquin, when you carry the king, there'll be 4 people. Now 1, 2, 3, 4. And he was carrying. So the king. And then what happened? There were little ants on the floor that Jada Bharat didn't want to hurt the ants. He started jumping here and there and walking. Now, when there are so many ants crawling, and when you understand we are not this body, we are spirit soul, and we know that hurting some jiva is sinful, we try to not kill them. But the snake comes and attacks you, definitely you can kill, as Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said. So it's innocent ants, he didn't want to do it, so he was jumping over and going. So he was carrying the palanquin of the king. What happens if one person jumps over here, there and here, and the whole thing starts shaking? So King Rahuguna was so angry at this Jada Bharat. It's like, what are you doing? Are you feeling so much weight in carrying me? And there's so much of thing in Bhagavad it says, and then Jada Bharata start giving transcendental knowledge to King Rahuguna. He becomes his guru by saying that, yes, I'm carrying the body as the weight. This body is a weight for me, and my soul is suffering because of this birth, death, old age, disease, and so many transcendental things happens. Okay, so Bharat Maharaj was unsuccessful in his practice, but later on he became Jada Bharat and he got moksha. And Indradumna Maharaj became Gajendra and he got moksha. There's so many examples where they fall down and then they get birth in a pious family or rich aristocratic family. That is what the unsuccessful yogi. So you can see the unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planets of pious living entities, that is, they might go to Swarga, and they come and take rebirth in a family of righteous people or in a family of rich aristocracy, so that they can start from where they stopped. Or if an unsuccessful yogi, after long practice, he takes birth in a family of transcendentalists and who are surely great in wisdom, certainly such a birth is very rare. Who is this? And who is this? Anybody know? You can put in the chat.
The child is Srila Prabhupada. Abhay Charan.
Abhay Charan, that's Srila
and
Prabhupada.
His father is
Gaur Mohan De. Okay,
Yes.
so that's Prabhupada, and Prabhupada in his young age. So definitely he was for Prabhupada. It's different. Okay, so he is a Senapati Nayak, but still he was born in a Vaishnava family. So he takes birth in a family of Vaishnavas. From even in the womb of the mother, the child could hear so many devotional things, and then the child is born to the devotional family. Just imagine, from day one he hears Harinam, when he start taking Krishna Prasad, so much of advantage. So definitely that's a soul who didn't complete bhakti or devotional service in previous life and comes back to continue from where they stopped. So that's why Prabhupada calls them Vaikuntha children, not normal children. And we were not so fortunate like them, but still maybe next Janma will be, if we could not complete Krishna consciousness in this life, we might be born to a Vaishnava family where so try to complete. Prabhupada says never take a chance. They think that this is your last Janma and be serious in Krishna consciousness. But because of life and some karma binding us, we may not be able to be serious and we may not be able to complete. That's okay. Still, you try your best. If you do 50%, you just start from 51%. Maybe you'll be born in a rich family, to a Vaishnava family, and then from beginning you'll be trained. And so you can see some kids chanting slokas and memorizing verses so well. They're naturally attracted to Krishna. Okay, so on taking birth, in such birth, they revive their divine consciousness in of their previous life, and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success. So yogi is never lost. Whatever practice you're doing now, chanting one round of Hare Krishna mantra, still you are glorious. I mean, it's never lost for you. By virtue of divine consciousness of his previous life, he automatically become attracted to the yogi principles even without seeking them. Such an inquisitive transcendentalists stand always above the ritualistic principles of scriptures. So you can see some boys in Mayapur and Gurukul and all. Definitely yogis from previous life. And when the yogi engage himself with sincere endeavor in making further progress, being washed away all the contaminations, then ultimately he'll achieve perfection after many, many births of practice, and he attains the supreme goal. So definitely it's never lost, and so we should never leave hope. Krishna will definitely help us. Krishna knows what our next Janma is going to be. So whoever is in Krishna consciousness, I strongly believe that Krishna has a good plan for you. And in near future, all of us are going back to Godhead. Don't know how long it takes. It depends on your sincerity. But then Krishna knows, because you have started, you have opened the door of liberation. Now you just have to catch hold of the path. And yogi is greater than an ascetic, greater than the imperative, and greater than the fruity worker. Therefore, Arjuna in all circumstances be a yogi. So this is the last verse of this chapter. Yes, Amrita, you need to memorize this. Are you there? Yoginam api sarvesham.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes.
योगिनामपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेनान्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान् भजते यो मां समे युक्ततमो मताः.
Yoginam abhi sarvesham. Out of all the yogis, karma yogi, jnana yogi, dhyana yogi, bhakti yogi, madgaden antaratmana, who wants to come to me, shraddhavan bhajate yomam. This is not my opinion, not Prabhupada's opinion. This is Krishna's opinion. Krishna says, shraddhavan bhajate. This word is used. He says, out of all the yogi who's doing devotional service, bhajan to me, yomam. Mam means to Krishna. Same yukta tamam. It's the best yogi. He's the best yogi because he's going to go back. Like Srila Prabhupada gave to everyone this bhakti yoga practice, and he made it so easy for us. No? So yoginam abhi sarvesham adgaden andaratmanam shraddhavan bhajade yomam same yukta tamo madaha. Out of all the yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worship me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. Okay, so highest of the yogis is the bhakti yogi, because he will directly reach Krishna and he will never fall down. So this was the overview of the chapters. We saw how to advance in Ashtanga Yoga and stages of Ashtanga Yoga, the 8 yoga stages, and why it's important to control the mind. And unsuccessful yogi, you can see Bharat Maharaj becoming the deer and later Jada Bharat. And what happens to the fate of the unsuccessful yogi, it's never lost. And Bhakti yogi as the topmost yogi. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So any questions you can put in the chat or raise your digital hands. Now we need to conquer Maya. So Maya is actually, we are fallen in her place. This material world is Maya's world. She has created this jail. Like Gajendra came and put his feet into the water. Gajendra elephant is a land animal, right? Crocodile is a water animal. I mean, he lives in both, but that's his habitat. So what happened? Gajendra wrongly came to the wrong place. I mean, he came in the wrong place. So Prabhupada says that we have come in the wrong place. We belong to the spiritual world, but we fell in this material world. And Maya, this is her world, like the crocodile in the river. So the crocodile became more strong, and Gajendra was suffering because Gajendra is in the wrong place. Similarly, we are in the mouth of Maya and we are suffering. But if we catch hold of Krishna, and as Lord came in Garuda to help Gajendra, similarly, if we catch hold of the Lord, then we can conquer Maya. He says, Mameve Prabhatinde Maya Etam Tarantide. You can cross Maya. Yes, Dinesh Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
First is like what relationship we individual souls have with each other in the spiritual world?
All of us, the souls?
Yes, Mataji. We
are all eternal servants of Krishna, and there's no particular relationship with anyone, Prabhu. This mother, father, child, and all these relationships is in the material world. In spiritual world, we all are dasas and we are servants of Krishna. We are related only to Krishna, not to anybody else. That relation is only with Krishna in Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Valsalya, and Madhurya form. It's with Krishna. Others, might be if the soul is in a Gopa's form, we might be friends of Krishna, and others will be friends to each other. And there also there's gopis and kids and everything, but that is not the eternal relation. Eternal relationship is only with Krishna. The focus is Krishna in spiritual world. Okay.
Okay. So Mataji, no family is there in the spiritual world?
It
Like
will be
we
there
have
for
a-
the pastime. Yeah, for the pastime purpose, but no karma binding, no karma, and nobody gets age, no birth with old age disease there. So all will be young, and but for the pastime purpose, there will be gopas, gopis, their children. That's just for pastime purpose. But the real relationship is with Krishna, Prabhu.
Okay. So second question, Mataji.
Mm.
Like if I want to read about activities there in detail in the spiritual world, where can I read, Mataji?
Activities in the spiritual world. This
Yes,
is
Mataji.
in Bhagavatam 10th canto is fully describing about the activities in Goloka Vrindavan, in Vrindavan, how Krishna's pastimes are. So everything is in Bhagavatam. You can read 10th canto. But if you did you start reading Bhagavatam, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji, I
First,
read.
okay, so it's better to start from first canto because Krishna explains about creation and everything. Prabhupada says don't jump to 10th canto, but that's okay. You can read Krishna book. Krishna book has all the pastimes, 90 chapters with all the pastimes of Vrindavan of Krishna. So you can read them. Very beautiful book. Vaishnava Prabhupada. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. What shall we focus upon while chanting Maha Mantra? Sujit Prabhu, very good question. So, focus while chanting Maha Mantra is focusing on the mantra. Like when you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Focus the mantra, hear the mantra, nothing else. Don't have try to imagine the form of Krishna. Don't try to imagine the pastimes. We are not into that level. We are just basic devotees. We are sadhakas. So either you have the Maha Mantra written in front of you, or you see the picture of Krishna. But better you sit in one place and close your eyes and hear the Maha Mantra. Definitely the mind will go. If the mind doesn't go anywhere, that is a problem. So mind is going, try to bring it back. When you're chanting, the mind will go, oh, today I have so much things to do in the office. I have to do that. I have to do this. Again, then you'll be like, oh, what am I doing? I'm chanting. Try to bring the back the mind. Hear one mantra at a time. When you're chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hear the mantra. Okay, with the right hand you're chanting, with the left hand, you just count how many mantras you heard. And after 5 mantras, the mind will go, try to bring it back. So hearing the Maha Mantra, the Shabda, that's very important. Focusing on the mantra while chanting, not on anything else. Because Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela. First is the name, then the form, quality, and pastime comes. So first is the name comes to you. Then the beautiful form comes, the Shyam Sundar form. Then the qualities, and last the pastime. So you don't have to imagine anything. The mind, as someone asked, we could not control the mind while chanting. So one Vaishnava was like, what the mind has to do with chanting? Just keep chanting. So forget about the mind. Let the mind go here and then try to bring it back. Okay. Hare Krishna, Ketaki Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, the same doubt I had, like, when we are chanting, mind really goes very afar, like, the chain of thoughts starts, a small deviation, even though we are chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, but still, I can feel that, I'm not into it. So I started, we have that chanting before the class where Prabhupada, and in the background, the pictures move. So I'm trying to concentrate on, at least Krishna's form, the picture, or Rama's form. Is it okay to do that?
Yes, because you're not concentrating on anything else. You're concentrating on the Lord itself, right? But at the same time, you hear the mantra. Don't chant the mantra softly. It should be audible to you. So hear the mantra and at the same time seeing the form of the Lord, that's not a problem. That's why people chant in front of the altar. They sit in front of the picture of the Krishna and then chant. Your concentration will increase. Only thing is you should not be lost anywhere. So try to bring it back. Try to bring
No,
the mind
because
back.
even doing that, sometimes, I just remember some small incidents, like, of the
That's
Krishna
okay.
itself, like the pastime or something, Kalya Vad or something. Then I know again I'm going off from the Maha Mantra, but I just wanted to know if it is okay to do that for now.
If it is coming automatically to you, then it's okay. Don't stop it. It's good. It's good actually. But artificially don't try to think about the Leela. So if the Leela is just in coming, that's okay. You're not thinking about movies, no? You're thinking about Krishna. So that's not a problem. That's okay.
Okay. Thank
The
you.
only
Thank
thing
you,
is we
Mataji.
concentrate. Yeah, Amrita, that's a nice thing from Gita Mahatmya, right? Eko mantram, what was that? Eko devo devagi putra eva, eko mantram, right? Devagi putra. So this is the mantra. So eko mantram and eko book. One book is Bhagavad Gita. One mantra is the Hare Krishna mantra, and eko deva is Krishna, the Devaki putra. So yes, that was from Gita Mahatmya. Very good. Any other question?
One in the chat, Mataji. Last one, I think. Those who are born in poor families and have many problems, not because of their fault, what is the way to mukti or attaining Krishna consciousness?
Yeah, so Krishna says, no, even a poor person can worship the Lord. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. So in that purport, in the 9.26 sloka, in the purport was mentioned, even a poor person can worship Lord because water is available in every house. So just keep little water, tulsi or flower to the Lord. That's enough. And chant the holy name. Chanting the holy name doesn't have any material criteria. Oh, you only when you're rich you can chant. No, even poor people, yes, they don't have time to sit and chant like us. They'll be going to work and everything because they need money to live, because they're born in a poor family. But they can chant. The tongue is there. They can chant. So anybody can take to Krishna consciousness. No impediment. Might be they won't be able to purchase great books or have nice facilities like us, but then they can do in a simple way worship Krishna. Just keep a simple photo of Krishna. It's available. Even if they don't have a photo, just mentally offer everything to Krishna. Chanting the holy name can be done. So that's the way for them to increase in Krishna consciousness or advance in Krishna consciousness. I don't think money is a criteria will stop you or advancing. You might be the richest person in the world, but you may not have bhakti. So, right? And a poor person like Palaveja Sridhar, who was selling banana leaves and all, he was the greatest devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu said, you are the richest person because you have bhakti. So even a poor person can advance in Krishna consciousness just by chanting. And offering might be Patram Pushpam Phalam Toya. Even if they don't have that, that's okay. Just chant the Hare Krishna and we'll be saved. Okay. Yes, Ramesh Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. So my question is that Mataji, you told that Bharat did the devotional prayers alone, so that's why he couldn't get the liberation. But then Gajendra also did it alone.
No,
but not the liberation.
Yeah, but Gajendra didn't run off to a sacred place. He was with his family. On the shore, the family was there. And Gajendra was chanting the Lord's prayers. And he has one focus. His focus was on the Lord. Gajendra didn't focus on anything else. But Bharat Maharaj focused on the deer, right? So that was the difference. So Gajendra as Indradumna Maharaj as Gajendra, he was in his family. He didn't really run off with leaving the family. He didn't run off to the forest. When you see the picture, when you read Bhagavatam, it is said in the Trukuda Vana, in that lake, his family was there. His children and wife was there, and he was with the family. He was with the association of people, and then he chanted the Lord's name. But his focus was on the Lord. Bharat Maharaj, even though he was alone, and if you say yes, Gajendra was also alone, fine, but his focus was on the Lord. But Bharat Maharaj's focus was on the deer. That is a problem. The consciousness was different, Prabhu. And Gajendra immediately didn't leave, the soul didn't leave the body. But Bharat Maharaj, when he was dying, at the time of death, he was thinking about the deer. So that is the thing. Anta Kalesha Maveva. Right? Ante Narayana Smriti. At the end, if you are able to remember Krishna, you are successful. So Gajendra could do that because he was chanting Gajendra Stuti. Namo Namaste Akhila Karanaya Nishkaranaya Adbhuta Karanaya. He was going on chanting Gajendra Stuti. But Bharat Maharaj was not calling out for Lord when the soul was going. Right? Who asked the question?
Ramesh Prabhu.
Ramesh Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu, Hare Krishna. That's what happened, no?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So I think, can we end?
Yes, Mataji, there are no questions in the chat or raised hands, please.
Well, it's not difficult to work without expecting or thinking about the results in the present world. Yes, daily life. For those who are born in poor families, sometimes we tell our children to do dandavat before going to exam to score more marks. Yes. So Nishkama Karma Yoga is very difficult in this material world. That's true, because we will get attached to the fruits. We all are working for money and then we get attached. But best thing to do is give a part of that for devotional service. With that money, you buy some fruits, offer to Krishna. Then you can take it. Or with that money, you give some donation, get some Bhagavad Gita, do some kind of service, devotional service. Along with that, you do akarma. You chant the holy name, do devotional service. Okay. And doing dandavat before going to exam to score more marks, that's like approaching Krishna for material things. But that's okay. Krishna says, Chadar Vida Bhajante Mam Jana Sugridina Arjuna Arto Jitnasuratarti. Right? So even if you want money, you're distressed, you want to have knowledge, you can go to Krishna. But go to Krishna, not anyone else. That's what Krishna says. Come to me. If you want anything, if the child does want anything, he goes to the parents, not to the neighbors. Similar, if he wants something, go to Krishna. You are Sugritis. But that's not the best devotion. Best devotion is Anya Bilashada Shunyam, to not have any desires. But for children, that's okay. Somehow they come to Krishna consciousness, right? So tell them when they do dandavat, they should also chant the holy name. So the namaskara is accepted by the Lord when your mind and your words are at the feet of the Lord. So when they're doing dandavat, tell them to chant Maha Mantra thrice, and then Krishna will help. But Krishna will help those who help themselves. So tell them to study well, because you do your best and God will do the rest. So we can't just expect God to take up everything. But yes, that can be done. And poor family, the only way to go back is chanting the holy name, and might be offering something they can do. Right? Chanting can be done by anyone. Okay, so I think we can stop here. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Amrita.
Thank you, Mataji.
Vaishnavi